Did any other guys cringe as hard as I did as Mother removed the eyeballs from Marcus and took his power away? It definitely brought back some painful memories from my marriage. Hey everyone, I'm Brent the Middleman, your middle-aged middle manager from Middle America in a midlife crisis, back today with another video about the incredible HBO sci-fi series Raised by Wolves. Season 2 is off and running, and in today's video I'll be adding to my theory I posted after episodes 1 to 3. So spoiler warning for everything up to the end of episode 4, now let's get into it. If you haven't watched my other video, I'll give you a quick synopsis. My main theory is that robots created humans and not the other way around. The tree of life and the serpent and all the imagery from Genesis in the Bible seems to come from Kepler, and the Mithraic god Sol definitely comes from Kepler. And we've been dropped in the middle of a millions-year-old cycle where Kepler robots sent humans off to Earth to evolve, then recreate androids in order to get back to Kepler. Why? I'm not so sure, but there was a lot of evidence supporting this, especially the cave paintings we saw in Season 1. One of my points from the other video is how the necromancer blood and eyeballs affected Otho and Marcus. They both got superhuman abilities, much like the hooded creature we saw in Season 1, who scaled walls like Marcus did and had extended life. I'm thinking now that Marcus will be on a mission to get his powers back, and could become one of the hooded creatures. I believe the hooded creatures were Kepler humans created by the androids who learned that the necromancer blood can make them powerful. So they captured necromancers and took their blood to gain their power. Perhaps they had them give birth to snakes in order to get the power from the snake, which means Marcus may be headed for number 7 to get power, and Sue may end up helping him so they can match up with Mother, who has all of her powers back. I definitely don't think Marcus is done, and he will be desperate to get his powers back so he can get his new family back. Now, for what happened to Paul. The Trust sabotaged Mouse with some gas that has covered Paul in some sort of cocoon or shell. And just before he was covered, we saw his eyes become almost reptilian. I think what we are seeing here is how the creatures from Season 1 were created. Paul may be devolving. I know this term was controversial, but it is what Father called it in the show. This is more evidence that the hooded creatures were filled with necromancer power because both they and Marcus were unaffected by the Trust gas attack, as we saw they did not devolve like the other creatures and like Paul. We also saw Campion fight off and kill a creature that emerged from the acid ocean. Interestingly, it made the same noise as Mother's snake baby. Does this mean it is also biotech? This was really cool and raises a ton of questions. Are the machines experimenting on humans, or are they part synthetic? Vril is surprised Campion would kill an organic being to help a synthetic being. They are definitely setting up Campion to be the one to unite humans and machines. And it is yet another scene where the machines can see themselves as inferior to humans. But perhaps it's the humans that are inferior. Mother definitely looks down on humans as she tells Sue later that she is all too human and not like a machine at all. She then tells Marcus that he's so primitive, wearing animal skins and whispering magic words as Paul's sitting there having his cells attacked. Perhaps Mother's powers give her this air of invincibility, or have allowed her to break free from her programming somewhat, where the other machines are dependent on humans, so they just follow their programming. But we've seen glimpses of them being able to break free, like with Father. Anyway, as Campion was helping Vril, Tamerlane came up to shoot him, but he was saved by a glowing floating figure. Campion thinks he saw Sol and he saved him, but we learn later that it was Father's super old android, who we know from the casting announcements will be called Grandmother. So let's talk about Grandmother. She's obviously super powerful and may be a match for powered up Mother. It also seemed like she was able to get into Father's head and affect his programming. We know that necromancers can get into human minds, but they couldn't get into android minds. If Grandmother has this power, then she can control all the androids and may be even more powerful than Mother. We don't know a lot else, but I think there will definitely be tension if Grandmother controls Father and makes him no longer subservient to Mother. Catfight incoming? Rawr. That brings us to Mother. Unlike literally everyone in the show, I'm really happy she got her eyes back. And after shutting down her brother, the Trust, she is now presenting herself as Mother to all of the survivors. And the Trust tried to warn her this would not be the same thing as being a parent to her kids by quoting the original Campion Sturgis from Season 1. And even though Mother sounds like a true politician, saying, "I'm not a conqueror, I'm a servant," just how politicians today call themselves public servants when we all know that's not true. She says they can have free speech and she'll hand over leadership once a suitable human is ready. And we know she wants Campion to lead them, a role he seems destined for. However, the collective understandably seems hesitant to trust Mother. But she does seem like the best option for them at the moment, with the other option being complete chaos. That is, until they meet Grandmother. My best guess for what is going to happen next is that Marcus will be on a mission to get his powers back and prove himself to his followers. He knows the power came from Mother's eyes, so he'll be shooting for those. But he may realize an easier way could be to get them from the snake, and once he finds out the snake came from Mother, which Sue could tell him, he might be going straight for it. And if controlling the snake is the equivalent of getting the sword, then this would really tie in nicely. I think we will see Paul emerge from his cocoon, either devolved or evolved, however you want to put it, and he'll be much better suited to survival on Kepler, which will please Mother, as she only cares that they survive. This may lead her to think that all children would be safer doing this, and that could be what happened to humans on Kepler before. The machine creators felt it was best for them. But I may be going too far with this one. Campion will meet Grandmother and realize she is who he saw glowing. Maybe he will try to get her to help save Vril, because I think human-robot love and reproducing may become a thing. Father is definitely going to follow Grandmother, whether by choice or not, and this will cause tension between Mother and Grandmother. They may even vie for leadership, because I don't believe for 1 second that Mother doesn't want power and control. I don't think we are done with the trust either. Cleaver is distraught and will do all he can to get his computer god back online. The Trust will not be happy with Mother, so there is definitely an android battle royale being set up. Okay, so I'm definitely excited for the next episode, as this one really ramped things up and added some crazy twists. The show is well on its way to topping season 1, which is super rare with these types of shows. And as always, let's keep the conversation going in the comments. I love reading and talking about all your theories too. And I'll be back next week with another theory video as the show peels back the curtain more and more. So be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss my next video. And once again, I'm Brent the Middleman. I'll see you next time.